that Apostle Dr. OWUSU BEMPAH is a seriously anointed, great man of God. When we talk about a great prophet, at least when we come into the realms of the prophet, I don't think there's any comparable to him. He is in the realms with William Branham. He is not just another ordinary person. I'm talking that he is not another ordinary. I'm talking about in the whole world right now. There's no one close to the grace and the oil and the office God has given to him. So that makes him come under serious attack. Secondly, he is also the nation's prophet. A prophet, in the first place, just prophesying to thousands of people, delivering them from the plans of the enemy, makes him one of Satan's #1 target to bring him down and to destroy his reputation and his ministry. Secondly, being a nation's prophet, he has been a pivotal and instrumental in the determination of the different presidents in Ghana, even including when Hillary, when Trump couldn't come to office, he saw it and prophesied it. He also prophesied the current president that he was going to come to power. His prophecy has consistently been accurate when it comes to the nation's presidents, not only in Ghana, but in different countries, to the point that even his rivalries all have come to understand that he's a genuine man of God and God is using him in revealing who God wants to become the next president. So what happens is that anytime he prophesies that this party is going to win or this candidate is going to win, when that candidate wins or that party wins, because he prophesied or God revealed it to him to prophesy and also give them direction, he just don't just prophesy, but he also gives you prophetic directions and counsel and gives you the mind of God, what you must do to become the president. Because he can tell you that God wishes you to become a president, but if there are things you don't do, your enemies may, or your opponent may work harder and use dubious means to come into power. So he not only prophesies, but goes further to give prophetic directions and frustrate anything that will hinder the candidate from becoming, until the candidate becomes the president. So when you become president, you kind of begins to like him because he helped you in coming to office. So for instance, when NPP came into power, they knew that he was very instrumental in helping them come into power. And spiritually, I'm telling you for a fact that he played a major role. If it wasn't for his prophecy, his prayers, and his prophetic directions and spiritual insight, I tell you the truth, ex-president Mahama would have become the president if it hadn't been for the intervention of Prophet OWUSU BEMPAH. So what happened? Now NPP will be on your side, and definitely every NDC candidate and the NDC party, the opposing party who did not win, becomes his enemy. And in many countries, we have two personalities, the ruling party and the opponent. So he has a lot of enemies just because he prophesied against their candidate for becoming a president. So NDC is already against you because your prophecy did not favor them. So already within the political arena, he has great enemies. Why? Because they see him as an enemy of their coming into power. So this is the two major things. One, his prophecies towards individuals and setting them loose and free from the plans of the enemy makes him an enemy and also being a nation's prophet. Now the question is that during the election, a lot of things went on spiritually, and this man risked his life for the NPP party. He risked his life, stood in the gap, and fought for them to come into power. Recently, go and listen to some of these prophets who were prophesying against, contrary to what he was saying. They are not all coming to terms that he is a serious prophet and a genuine prophet, and his prophecies are accurate. Even Niger Gazi was saying that this man, I see him as that God is using him to prophesy about the nation, the president. Even though Niger Gazi was speaking, prophesying opposite to what he believed, but in recent times he was saying that he believes that he's a man of God and God uses him in that area. Now what happened is that if you intervened spiritually and with all the rallies and crusades and whatever we did, campaign we did, and the spiritual things we did, we couldn't come into power, and you are an obstruction to our coming into power, then we have to find a way of getting you out of the picture. And it can go on both sides. That is the philosophy. Any of the parties who loses, they will try to make sure that if this person is a threat and opposing us, then we have to try and get him. So I'm talking about spirituality. Physically, spiritually, we couldn't succeed. But in the physical realm, after the election, Apostle Dr. OWUSU BEMPAH's problem started after the election, because after the election is the plan B. What can we do to remove this hindrance? Spiritually, we can't defeat him. Spiritually, he's being backed by God. Spiritually, he's speaking the mind of God. Spiritually, he's enforcing the will of God. Okay, what if we can look for a physical weakness? A physical what? Weakness that can help us bring him down, destroy him. At least we can't defeat him spiritually because God is with him. But if we can let him fall in the physical, we can get access. It was like the Philistines who had planned to defeat Samson, but realized that we can't defeat Samson spiritually because God is with him. For this reason, we are going to use Delilah. And back, the Philistines kings gave Delilah a huge sum of money, and they were behind Delilah. And so we know that the weakness of Samson is with women, and we can get a woman to bring him down for us. So they send the woman with the kings of the Philistines behind, manipulating event to bring Samson down. Because when they came after Samson with their armies, because God was with Samson, with a jawbone of an axe, he was able to slay single-handedly 1,000 Philistine soldiers. He was too powerful spiritually. But in the physical realm, we know that Samson has a weakness. Let us work with his weakness, come against him through his weakness, and we can destroy Samson. And so they kept on using Delilah, and that's how they succeeded. I believe that after the election, spiritually, a group of individuals said, what can we do to bring this man of God down and tarnish his reputation? And this is where I want to advise those surrounding Apostle Dr. OWUSU BEMPAH, and also respectfully in humility, also speak to Papa that the devil is using 3 major things. Maybe I'll say 2 or 3. 1, the compassion. Anybody who is close to Papa knows how compassionate. He is humble and very, very compassionate. Humble man and very, very compassionate. So now, because of his compassion, he allows people to come close to him. And one of the greatest mistakes is when he allows people to come into his house. I realized that it is so easy for Papa to even allow strangers who are in need to easily come to his house because of his big heart. He'll hear you are in trouble, he'll hear you are in this, and then he doesn't care. Oh, come to my house and we will sort you out, we will help you out. And that has been one of the where it is his strength, the enemy is using his strength, his kindness as his weakness, his compassion as his weakness to get access into his house. So you realize that in recent times, some individuals came into his house because he was in to help them, and those individuals were used or influenced to come and say certain things against him. And people thought it was credible because they said, I was in Papa's house. I even videoed things in his house. I was even in his kitchen. I even went to his sitting room. This was the picture of me and Papa. So now people are getting closer to him to the point of getting to his house and are able to come out with fake news or anything, any story they narrate. People believe it because they said I was in his house. He has to start buying people from coming to his house. Everything must be done in the church. Only your very confident, close associate do you allow in your church, in your house. That has become one of the major problems, major issues that the enemy keeps on getting Papa with. Even the issue that brought about the curse. The devil strategically brought 2 women, and one of them, they said, we went to his house. And when I went to his house, I heard he said this about me, and this person said about me, and that became a serious issue about these 2 women. That people were using it to bring false allegation that he's into any affairs with one of them. And that is where people started going on social media to use it to tarnish his image until he was provoked to the point of even cursing them out. All those who were involved in trying to destroy him based on the... But the question is that, how did it happen? The devil allowed some 2 women, got them access into his house. The first thing is people able to come into his house. Secondly, some individuals have no business coming too close to him, especially celebrities. I realize with history, some of us have followed Papa for a long time, for almost 10 years and over. Many celebrities who warmed themselves into his life later on betrayed him. Many celebrities. They will come too close. They will come too close, and later on they will come in and say something otherwise. They are taking his kindness for granted, his compassion, his niceness. And that's where it all started. Being so kind, compassionate, wanting to see a one-time fetish priest become a Christian. You should have seen Papa's face lit with joy when this woman came on his platform singing about God and saying that she's here to give money to support, to thank God. Apostle was just happy for him, for the fact that he was trusting and believing that this woman will become a believer and a Christian. Happy, heart open. then sadly, with all this kindness of even people were now criticizing that why do you have to allow such a person to come to your church, let alone come on your platform and take a mic and sing? Why do you do that? Heart of compassion, heart of kindness, too nice, too nice. That niceness is costing Papa, and you can't continue anymore. In this new age, the enemy's trap and weapon is massive. You can't play that games anymore. You have to love them from a distance. You get them in, they will bite you. Now the person comes close, and now you see she comes close. If she's a celebrity, has fame, she comes into your house, and now that same person is being used against you. Go and look. All those who have had issues with Papa in the years past, they all had access into his life, came into his house. Access into his life, came into his house, and that was the beginning of the problem. We need to block this satanic strategy and distance yourself. You deal with people on the Sunday at church, and no more coming to my house. I believe if we will learn from these mistakes, we will make progress. Because as I said, he is an asset to the nations and asset to the nation Ghana. Ghana has no idea what the Lord has used this man to save the nation from countless civil war and confusion because of his prayer and intercession. Whether you like it or not, God has anointed him as a spokesman in determining who the president will be and to guide them through prophetic direction and counsel to help them come to power and to stabilize this. You can hate him, but whatever he says is what will happen. Whatever he says concerning who is going to be the next president, not because he's powerful, but it's because that's what God has made him. And that has brought in so much enmity. Women, celebrities, they'll come in and pray, oh, I'm a celebrity, I'm into this, I'm a journalist, I'm into Hollywood. Many people have come in. Papa has to start screening, especially your house is no go. Your house is no go. Those around Papa, please be very vigilant. Be very, very, very strict. Protect the man of God. If Martin Luther King Jr., the civil rights activist of US, the day he was shot, he was on his balcony alone with one of his guys, and he was shot. If his close associates were very protective of him, maybe they wouldn't have gotten access. So please, let us protect people, protect Papa from the fake people who come around him. That is being used a lot. And then these people come in, get to know him, come into his house, and then later on are being used. They are being used. As I said, it's a spiritual warfare. The devil is just looking for anybody who can come close to him so that they will use them against him later on. So now, Papa, don't blame the people. We have to begin to work on how to make sure we protect ourselves from the people who are coming in, because they may come in and later on turn against you and begin to go on social media insulting you, defaming you, and say all sort of nasty things. And you wonder, this is a person who came in and I helped them. This is a person who came in and I supported them. This is the person who came in and I delivered them. How come now they are being used? Because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Another thing I'll also plead moving forward is that some of the boys